Hi guys, I just wanted to show you something. It's concerning the earthquakes at the Canary Islands, Palma. This graph shows data from the last 5 years, and I've recorded earthquakes that happened in and around the Canary Islands, because earthquakes are a precursor of a volcanic eruption. Now, just first thing though, as you're looking at this graph, you see from the 31st of March, around that time, until 31st of March this year, you see a big gap. Now this is not because there wasn't any earthquakes at all. This was because I accidentally saved this file as saved it as something else. So I kind of overwrit the file, but luckily I found an old saved file in one of my USBs, but of course the data stopped there. But you can take my word for it, in this gap here you had very sparsely earthquakes happening, like this sort of, maybe one every couple of months or one every month even, but very, very sparsely. And obviously from this graph now we can see that around this time here, so around November 2015, we had this time of a lot of earthquake activity. So 2015, though, November, it's a long time ago. Point being is, just recently there's been a lot of earthquakes around in the Canary Islands. As you can see, these numbers here, these are like the magnitude of the earthquake, and if there was more than one in a day, then I'd add the magnitudes together. They're usually about 2.3, something like that. But here you can see there's an 11.2. That's because on this date, which was the 27th of May, you had 4 earthquakes in one day. See what I mean? Now we can zoom in a bit more maybe, and let's just have a quick look. So let's go more towards this period here, the only other period where we had a lot of earthquake activity. You can see how close the earthquakes are together, and where you see darker lines, it's obviously because there's been more earthquakes in that time, or maybe on the same day. But compare that, visually, to that, and there is literally no comparison, is there? Look how tight, look how dark it is. You see all the numbers there squashed together, and you compare it to that one, and you can see just how more intense it's been. And this is happening now. As you can see, these doubles here, these are more than one earthquake. Here's the data over here. So you've got like 2 earthquakes a day, 4 earthquakes a day, 2 earthquakes a day. And really, since April, these earthquakes have been happening. So just like a heads up really on where we are, that the Canary Islands are shaking. And this is a precursor, a birth pain sign, because trumpet number 2, a great, when the second angel sounded, and as it were a great mountain burning with fire, a volcano, was cast into the sea, and a third part of the sea became blood. What happens is, when some volcanoes erupt, the nitrogen causes a red tide algae plume, and it kills off the fish. Okay? And a third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died. That's the algae plume. But look, and a third part of the ships were destroyed. This is because when La Palma collapses into the sea, it's going to generate a mega tsunami. and it's going to travel across the Atlantic, and it's basically going to wipe out a lot. It's going to wipe out the east coast of America, down Florida, the the Caribbean islands don't have much of a chance. All the coastline up there by Brazil and north, east, and all the east coast of Latin America, South America, even up to us in let's go the other way, the UK. South and southwestern coasts are going to have to deal with a tsunami which could be hundreds of meters high. Obviously all of Portugal coast there will also be washed away. This is Trumpet Judgment number 2. And of course this happens after the passing over the throne, Nibiru, which hits Earth, seal 6 with a massive earthquake. The sun's darkened, the moon's turned blood red, the crust of the earth is twisted round, pole shift, the whole earth's rolled round, the government run to their bunkers. 144,000 are sealed and protected from this in such a way that I guess the saints will flee to the mountains, like I've said in previous videos. They'll flee to the mountains like the Appalachians, the Blue Ridge mountains here would be a safe haven from this, because all this is flat along here. This is why it's coloured red as a danger area, because this mega tsunami, which could be hundreds of meters high, come in and just sweep this area. So saints, before this happens, like I've said in one of my prophecy videos, it would be a good thing for you to retreat into the mountains just as this is happening. Now they've made scenes about this in movies. Remember The Day After Tomorrow? Yeah, they had this mega tsunami coming in, but they didn't give you the proper reason for it. They just put it down to Atlantic current, which is a bit rubbish, really. But you can imagine the devastation of a tsunami. Tsunami of this size. You can imagine the devastation it would cause. So this is why I say about the East Coast being swept clean, and not really standing a chance. So backing up to the Appalachian Mountains. And by the way, this is where the government also have their secret underground bunkers that they're going to run to. They have them in the Ozark Mountains, so they're going to be safe also. Even the scientists are expecting it. This guy's just said it's the rock. The whole rock is as big as Manhattan Island, and they're highly expecting it. They just don't know when. But this is a heads up anyway, that I keep data, I keep track, and the reality is, people, that at the moment the earthquakes around La Palma, which is a massive danger, especially to east coast of America, is absolutely quaking, higher than it has done for at least the last 5 years in which I've been keeping records. If you're a single person just looking at this as a single event, and not as a part of a sequence of events, you have it here, trumpet number 2, part of the 7 trumpets. But if you were looking at it as a single event, and you lived on the east coast of America, and you've seen this data here now, it would take about 6 hours for the tsunami to cross the Atlantic. See there, it's 6 hours, 8 hours to hit the east coast of America. So you'd have 8 hours. At the very least, you'd have your exodus, your bug out bag ready to go, because at the moment this thing is just quaking. If you looked at it as a single event, you would do that. But as we look at it from a biblical event, we know that other things have to happen first, like the 7 seals have to come first, and then the throne of God, Nibiru, hits us seal 6. The mocking of the saints and the great multitude are caught up, raptured up to the throne, they're saved. That then moves on, directly to the trumpet judgments. And then you've got the fiery tail of Nibiru and blood coming down. And then actually, boom, and then you got trumpet number 2, which is La Palma. So we would have such a warning that we can go and we can see our seals happening. False Christ is crowned, war outbreak, Israel, market collapse, the Dome of the Rock is destroyed, North America is taken down, possibly by North Korea, and then people's hearts are crying out to God for his help. And then bang, the throne hits us, and that in itself is going to be an extinction level event anyway. So at this point, I'm going to be in my Exodus place, high up, well, about 60 meters above sea level, which is good enough, and safe and sound. And we're just going to have to ride this trumpet judgments out. But this is more for people who, live on like the east coast of America. So anyway, you can take what you want from it. So anyway, I've been Pastor Justin Roberts from End of the Age Bible Prophecy, and at the moment the Canary Islands are rocking with earthquake. Even if I zoom in a bit, now you can see how much these are spaced out in that last. And look, even so, man, these are just so huddled together. It's unreal. And they might drop off, or they might continue. I'll just keep you posted anyway. God bless you all. Amen.